We all know those people. They step into a room and they immediately light it up. They're like a magnet. People are drawn to them. Their aura is intoxicating. They leave others wondering, how are you so likable? Hi you guys, it's Danielle from For Real Guide here, and in this video I'm going to be sharing 7 different behavioral tips that have gone through numerous studies and research that can help you become a more compelling and likable person. So the first tip to becoming a more compelling, likable person is to showcase your positive and negative empathy around others. So if you're unaware, empathy is the ability to share and understand the feelings of another person. Likable people show empathy through what we call either positive or negative empathy. Essentially, they can showcase either excitement or comfort depending on what the other person is experiencing. They can mirror what the other person is experiencing to show comfort to them. An example for positive empathy is showing excitement when their friend tells them that they decided to quit their job and start a new business venture. And an example of negative empathy would be showing comfort when their friend tells them that their significant other is currently in the hospital. In both scenarios, you are merely there for the person. You are mirroring their emotions, and whether it's positive or negative, you are showing your support to whatever they're experiencing through your emotions. So the second tip to being a more likable, compelling person is to be humble. Likable people have humility, and humility is a very important trait of a likable person. While it is perfectly okay to be confident, there's a difference between being confident and being arrogant. Likable people are confident and they're not arrogant. They don't name drop, wave awards around, or act like they're better than everyone else. Being humble means that your successes aren't the most important thing in the world or the most important thing to other people, and that the world doesn't revolve around you. If you're not quite sure how to be humble, you can start looking at people who are humble and try to model your behavior after them. Some examples include Gandhi, Barack Obama, Abraham Lincoln, and Martin Luther King. All of these individuals are stoic and graceful people. Another important trait to becoming a more likable person is to be vulnerable, be real. When you put yourself out there and you showcase vulnerability, you are at risk for judgment, for embarrassment. The pratfall effect demonstrates why this actually makes you more likable. Essentially, it's a rule that says when we make a mistake and admit to that mistake, we become more likable. People connect with others who admit their flaws, who are human. It's hard to bond with people who try to be perfect all the time, and perfect people are not nearly as charismatic as they think they are. Because in actuality, it's really hard to be relatable when you're trying to be perfect all the time, and people are going to like you more if you are relatable and you are easy to talk to. The fourth tip to becoming a more likable person is to be present, to be here in the moment. So if you're like majority of the population, you probably have a cell phone, and that cell phone is probably constantly vibrating with messages and pinging with different notifications from various social media sites, right? And like most people, you probably find it difficult at times to step away from those online notifications and actually be in the present moment. The difference between likable, compelling people and the rest of the population is that they know the value of a face-to-face present conversation because they know that it makes the other person they're talking to feel valued and feel worthy of having a face-to-face conversation. Feel worthy that the likable person stepped away from their phone and gave them the time to have that conversation. By giving that person your full undivided attention when you're talking to them, it showcases that you take your time with them seriously, and they will respect you and like you more for that. Are you enjoying these tips so far? If so, please give us a like down below. Okay, now let's get back to the tips. The fifth tip for being a more likable person is to genuinely be interested in everyone. Have you ever met someone who demonstrates that they genuinely really want to get to know you? It was probably a really compelling moment because it rarely happens these days. Most times people ask how you are without really caring to know the answer. Likable people do not pick and choose who they want to hear about. They know that everyone has a story and they're interested in all of them. One way this is often measured is through the server test. The server test is often conducted in business meetings or on a date. Essentially, it's easy to be nice to people if you're trying to impress them. You can be nice to their family members if they introduce you, or to their inner circle if they decide to bring you to a group hangout. However, it shows someone's true colors and shows that they're a genuinely nice person if they extend their niceness to a server. So next time you're trying to see someone's true colors, take them out to eat. Tip number 6 to becoming a more likable, compelling person is to encourage others to talk and to genuinely be a great listener. Have you ever heard the adage, the best way to make friends is to listen more than you talk? That's absolutely true, but it's not something that people do a lot. A lot of times people talk about themselves, try to give you all the information that they can about themselves, try to be funny, try to be the center of attention. However, this is not really what people respond best to. Everyone's number one most important thing in their life is themselves. So if you want someone to like you, do not talk about yourself. You need to let them talk about their self, and they'll like you more for it. Focus on the people you're around and ask them open-ended questions to start a conversation. You'll be amazed at how interesting some of these people are and how much you'll learn. The 7th and final way to be a more compelling and interesting human being is to reciprocate praise. If you're like most people, you probably get a little bit embarrassed when people give you praise or nice comments. Do you notice that you're often uncomfortable when people say, "Oh my gosh, I love your earrings," or "That's a really cool hat, I love your style"? Well, you're not alone. Most people don't know how to respond to these comments and often are a little bit embarrassed or uncomfortable. A likable person recognizes that this is an opportunity to reciprocate praise instead of just to awkwardly receive it. Majority of people give compliments and praise without expecting anything in return. So you'll seem super likable if you return the favor and praise them for something that they aren't really expecting. So the next time someone at work says, "Oh my gosh, you did such a great job on the presentation," make sure to say, "Thank you so much, but it was actually a team effort, and so-and-so was also a very integral part in making the presentation look amazing." This tip goes back to being humble and making sure that others know that you're not super obsessed with yourself and that you see qualities that are amazing in everyone else. So who here is enjoying these tips? Make sure to comment yes below in the comments so that we can see how many of you guys are really working towards being a better, likable, more compelling person. Learning how to be more likable can make you feel more confident, charismatic, and make you just like yourself more. We all have a psychological need to belong. And there's nothing wrong with learning tricks and tips, different ways to make you feel more self-assured and more confident in yourself. Last little tip, making sure that you smile a lot and adding a little bit of humor can make you a much more lovable person. And if you like these self-improvement type videos, make sure you hit subscribe so that you see more of them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.